Dr. Joseph Martin again here. Our topic for today is tipping points in life. These are our keys to change. Tipping points. You know what these are? These are things that either in society or politics or certainly in our own internal life or body, where things start to amass and kind of accumulate and comes to the just the surface of our consciousness, and then we realize that these are just symptoms. These are like calls for change. These are things that are kind of brought up to our awareness, like little lights that go on or little ahas that go on to let us know that things need to change. Part of the challenge in an unconscious society, when most of us are unconscious, is we cannot even recognize when there are things building up that are leading to a tipping point, or even past the tipping point until it's too late, and then it's too late to make any positive changes. What am I talking about here? Well, we're talking about the First and the Second World War. We're talking when businesses start to decline, or then your banks go into default because things have gone awry, or even things in your own personal life that certainly health issues. You haven't been listening to your body's symptoms and what your body's trying to tell you to wake you up to get to the point where you can actually do something positive to create some balance and some harmony and some greater health. These are all important things to do. So, why is it we don't listen to the tipping point symptoms that come up for us, either internally as an individual or as a society? Of course, we would have much more success as an individual in our personal life and our creative goals and what we want to do for ourselves. We'd be much more successful in our personal relationships and love and friendship. We would certainly be more successful in our personal businesses, our careers, our entrepreneurial businesses that we set up. And we'd certainly be more positive in terms of local politics, local economy, national politics, and international politics. If we learn to perceive what's already going on around us, we're just unaware of it. Now, there are two aspects to this. Neurolinguistic programming tells us that we all have these barriers, these filters, these frequency fences in our mind that we consciously only listen to what we want to listen to. We only can perceive or allow into our minds and our feelings just what we want to perceive and feel and think. This is all based on barriers that you put up unconsciously when you were a baby, an infant, a child, a teenager. We put up these protective defensive mechanisms and barriers unconsciously and consciously against blocking out other thoughts. We want to stay in our little box, blocking out people's feelings, including our own emotions, so we don't feel anything. We're kind of immune, we're kind of frozen. And we do the same thing in business and in relationships and in society in general. This is a very shame-based, unconscious society. All our institutions and all our politics are all based on this as well. Well, so the point of all this is a basic call to consciousness, to a higher consciousness. And let's look at this in different levels of the psyche of the individual. And another time we'll get into society and how that works from an anthropological perspective. Within the individual, it's almost like, a lot of our channels are closed down. We have so many boxes, so many filters, so many prisons within our mind that we really don't have a clear mind, and we're receiving maybe 1% of the information or wisdom coming into us from other sources. It's kind of a sad thing, and it certainly doesn't allow you much hope or chance to live a very successful life. So let's just look at the mind, for instance, to start with. When you have all these filters in your mind and all these boxes and so on in prisons, they create a lot of fear and anxiety, but they certainly leave no chance for innovation and no chance for creativity and no chance for learning any new skill at all. So what you do need to do is to take this in hand and do some, I would suggest, neurolinguistic programming, reprogramming yourself, defragging from society and all its injunctions that it's put upon you and us, and do some work with meditation, absolutely, and yoga, to be able to release those blockages, those doors, those walls that are in there, those filters, to be present to the reality of the truth that already exists. You know, truth is easy to find, it's very simple. It's the children or the dogs that have no blocks or barriers that are open to the truth and the awareness of the perceptions that are already around us. All of infinite reality is always present in and around each one of us. And when you can clear your mind, you will be able to perceive and receive all the knowledge and wisdom that's already there for you. And your life will be ever so much better, more creative, more innovative, and happier for certain. And the same goes for the emotional state. When you learn to be open with your feelings, to recognize your feelings, and to clear the old baggage of old blocked feelings that have kind of backed up, like old, like it's like a need to do some cleaning of the internal emotional plumbing, get it free and clear and flowing again. When you're actually clear with your feelings and your emotions, then you're able to perceive and receive and experience all the emotions inside and around you with other people. The same goes with your physical body. Our body has tipping point symptoms that come to us, whether it be things that are out of whack, out of balance. It could be blood pressure, heart rates. It could be, kidney function, liver function, many, many, many things. And, often in muscle fatigue, brain fatigue, many things, we kind of bypass them and just kind of roll merrily forward over them like a steamroller. And we don't listen to our body's symptoms and what it's trying to tell us in a kinesthetic way. It's very important for your health if you want to live a long, healthy life, which most of us do, all the effort we're putting into our lives, that you do listen to these tipping point symbols inside your kinesthetic experience and be open to being aware and more like constantly open to tipping points inside and around you. Now, the same goes with personal relationships, particularly in business. You want to know if somebody's scamming you or telling you the truth. And 90% of communication, and this is really what we're talking about, is communication both internally with yourself, your mind, your emotions, and your physical symptoms, and also with other people. 90% is nonverbal. That is, we access unconsciously and pick up from other people what they're expressing and experiencing with us by just unconscious symptoms and symbols that come to us just intuitively. This is something to get really consciously clear about, and so we call this intuitional engagement and also intuitional intelligence. You can develop your intuition to a much higher degree. And there are two kinds of intuition. One is what we could call extrasensory perception, where there's just something invisible and internal that you can experience that has to do with all reality outside you, even just around you in physical space, and also in far distant spaces, even beyond the earth. The second type of intuition is much more personal in the sense of it's internal and it's oriented in time and space in your gut. It's your gut reaction. And that's something that you probably want to get in touch with more so that you have more awareness of all the myriad kinds of tipping points that are suggesting a greater balance and harmony and actually a higher, newer consciousness to lead you to a new state, a higher state of functioning with much more percentage of conscious capacity for choice and change in your life. Now, these are just some of the things about why it's important to recognize tipping points as the keys and the dominant symbols to enhancing and learning new skill sets, educating yourself, taking more responsibility for your health, your mental health, and your emotional health, and so on. And I suggest it's probably a good idea to use some mental floss and to kind of clear it out once in a while. That'd probably be a good thing. We could also use some social floss, and not candy floss, but social floss, to clear away all the obstructions we have about living happily, contentedly with all of us here on the planet, and accepting the quality of all of us and enjoying all the myriad kinds of different skill sets we have to bring with one another. This is just, again, an introduction. There will be more of these in the I Am Self-Worth online coaching healing program. Take good care. Joseph Martin here. Be open to expressing yourself with greater communication and finding those tipping points so that you can move up the mountain and have a greater life than you're already experiencing. All love and blessings to you. Namaste.